Hello, my name's Ralf Shaatak. What I want to do today is demonstrate to you the effectiveness of BGMOA. Okay? This is our oil additive for petrol engines. And what we're going to demonstrate in this little one is the effectiveness as friction modification. Only one step. And this is a demonstration, not a test. So, what I need for this demonstration, obviously, is a can of product. MOA. Note the new labels. Okay, very nicely done. Okay? The next thing we need is carbon choke cleaner. We need to clean this machine from the previous time that we've used it to make sure that it works properly. Otherwise, if we've got MOA left on it, we're going to get a bad reading. So this is just to clean up the piece of equipment. Okay? We need a heat source. We need contaminants. Water. Oil, which we're going to put in here. And we're going to have some petrol. Okay, in this case, or gasoline, I should say. Okay, so we're going to have all of these. I need a piece of emery cloth to clean the machine, to make sure that I don't have any friction modifiers left on the surface, and occasionally I'll need a pair of pliers. My other number one thing that I love for all my demonstrations is concentrated sulfuric acid. Okay, it's my favorite thing out there. Okay, and you will need a plentiful supply if you're going to do the things that I do. Okay, so here's how we do it. First of all, we have a bearing, a new bearing inside here. When I press down on it, we will be getting some pressure between these two metal surfaces. When there's no oil at all in there, we're going to get friction, which you'll hear the noise, the squealing noise. That is actually metal bonding together and breaking off. So we're creating a lot of wear inside this engine, okay, with no lubrication at all. So the simplest way to do it, when I press down on here with the bearing running, I'm going to push down until it locks up, and then a member of the audience is going to give me the number that it reads down here in pounds per square inch. Okay? Doesn't matter what number, what denomination, whether it's kilograms per litre, it doesn't matter. Okay, pounds per square inch is what we're using to demonstrate with today. So, turn it on, a little bit of noise, okay, and then when I put this down, I'm going to press down slowly. I want to do the same thing every time for the different products I'm going to use. So, we push down. Okay. For safety, I put my glasses on. Okay? Your choice. For me, this is better. Okay? So we push down slowly, and then we get to reading from here. 25 pounds per square inch of pressure. That's not very high compared to what you get actually generated in an engine. But if you look right here, you can see the amount of wear that we got on that engine, that bearing surface, just running it with that pressure with no oil present. So what does an oil do? What function does it perform? It cools, cleans, lubricates. Okay? Cools, cleans, and lubricates. It has other functions it has to do as well, but here, that's what we're going to demonstrate. So, when you work with a new surface, and this is why I carry a pair of pliers with me just in case, we just have to open that up a little bit, turn the bearing to a new surface, because we want to be fair about these things. Okay? And then I pop this back on here again. Now I have a brand new surface. So what we do next is I take my oil, just a generic oil. We do have others, and you can use anybody's oil in this. Okay? We put enough oil in here until we get a film of oil on the bearing surface. This is our cushioning effect that we get from an oil to stop the friction. Now we repeat the process with oil between the two metal surfaces, and we take another reading of pounds per square inch on this meter again. Okay? Slowly. 28. Okay, let me do it once more to make sure we didn't get a misread. Okay. 29. Okay. It didn't actually change very much, did it? As I push down on here, we're actually forcing the oil out of the way. And the thinner the oil, the easier it moves out of the way. So we have, again, no lubrication in there. So we're creating wear. This happens even faster when the oil is old. Let's look at the bearing surface again. It is scored very badly. Okay? That means I'm creating a lot of wear inside this engine. I'm also getting a lot of metal going around through the engine, which is actually causing more wear in other parts of the engine. It's just like sandblasting it. The more I get, the quicker it wears out the engine. Okay? Now what we're going to do is see how MOA works. I'm going to do it first, though, with an old bearing surface. So now we've got an old car, and I want to see what are the effects on an old car by adding MOA to it. So we take MOA and open it. Obviously, I have opened this already because I didn't break a fingernail doing it. Okay? So, we now add some MOA until we get to a little red color. Okay? Now we have a little red inside the system. So obviously I've used a little bit more than we normally do, but it's very hard to put a cup, just a fraction in there. But this is a demonstration. It is not a test. Anybody who says test is really lying. Okay, what we need is a test number if you're doing a test, an ASTM test number. So now I'm going to see what effect it had on this old bearing surface. So when I press down on it again slowly, I need somebody from the audience, again, preferably the same person with the bad eyesight, to come up here and do the same reading for me again. And we'll see how far it goes with MOA added to an old engine. Okay? Okay.
75.
75. So it's a little better. A slight improvement on the old one. Okay, but let's see what effect it had on the bearing. This is the impressive part. When we start to look at the bearing now, if you remember what it was like before, it was all scored and ridged like that. Now you can actually see it is starting to be polished. So now we have a nice polished surface coming into contact with another polished surface, with an automatic film left in between these two. So now we get almost no friction in this item at all. Okay? That increases your miles per gallon. But don't forget, this was an old car. What happens with a new car when you start from brand new? Okay? Let's do it again. We'll be fair. Don't forget we only went to 75, but they had new bearing surfaces to start with. So now we turn it to a new bearing surface. I put my thing back on here. So now we're going to show the same thing with a new car, with a new bearing surface, and we're going to, with old oil in there, and see what the effect is. We're going to hold it at 75, see if it locks up there first. Okay? Again, we do it slowly. How's that? Okay. Okay. I have had people bend the torque wrench. A big guy came in once and bent my torque wrench for me. Okay. It's very impressive demonstration. As I say, you can do this with other products, such as a chlorinated product. But a chlorinate actually creates problems inside your engine. It's a very, very good friction modifier, but if you take the chemical symbol for a chlorinate, which is Cl, and you add hydrogen to it, which is in the water, in the fuel, in the air, it doesn't matter, and it attaches to that chlorinate immediately. That creates hydrochloric acid. Okay? You do not want more acid in your engine. You've got plenty anyway. We don't need any more hydrochloric in there. It's also deadly to breathe. Any chlorinates are really bad for you. That's what mustard gas is. Okay? So be careful what you put in there. You can do this demonstration with Clorox bleach. Okay? And it's phenomenal as a demonstration. That's why I say this is a demonstration. It is not a test. We have other facets which we will include for MOA, other parts of it. But let's go a step further. Okay? What happens to contaminate oil when you're driving down a road? What are the contaminants that you use that occur in an engine oil? Okay? Over a period of time, according to Quaker State, your car, because of condensation and things like that, will produce up to 100 gallons of water that gets down into your oil during the next 2,000 miles of driving. 100 gallons. Depends on how many times you cycle off on and off the key. But every time it drops by 30 degrees, the engine temperature, you get condensation taking place. In the morning it evaporates, so you see some steam coming off it, which I'm sure you've all noticed on a cold day. So I'm going to add this to it. We're going to contaminate this oil. That's a lot of water going in there. So we've contaminated it with water. What else? Every time I turn the engine off, petrol or gasoline or diesel fuel runs down past the rings, the little bit that's left on there. So that gets into your oil as well. We're diluting this poor old oil down really badly. You can see it starting to foam a little bit on the bearing surface. The other thing, 1 to 4 pounds of sulfurous and nitrous acids every 2,000 miles of driving. 1 to 4 pounds of it. It's sulfurous and nitrous, not sulfuric. I'm using sulfuric, which is an oxidizing agent. So this is going to break this oil down very rapidly. You will start to see the color change on the oil. See how it's getting darker now? Ever seen oil that's dirty like that? Foamy like that? It's getting ethylene glycol in there because the head gasket's leaking. Look at the condition of it now. How is this going to work? Your wife gets up and gets in the car in the morning and wants to get the car hot. So there's no oil around the engine, and so she gets in there and revs it to get it nice and hot straight away. What's going to happen in a regular one? We're going to get that wear that we saw in the first instance. This one, we've got a protection left. Let's see what happens with this one. Okay? A brand new car with dirty oil in it. I'm going to push down slowly, okay? And see what the reaction is. Not a sound yet. Just to get a little. Actually, if I go like that, we're really putting it in, but you can hear it's actually getting quieter and quieter. Quite impressive, wasn't it? Look at the bearing surface. Look at the reaction that we're going to have on a new car. See that little mark there? That's it. With all of that pressure and all of that torque that we created, you can barely feel it. It's just a polish mark. So now we're going to have an engine, even if you don't change the oil when you should, we're still not going to create that wear for quite a long time. We can go a lot longer with MOA in it than you can without. Okay? Before you use this machine again or do anything, you can certainly pass the bearing around to everybody during each stage or whatever you like. At the end of it, pass that bearing around. They'll be impressed. The customers will. We've now shown them friction modification with MOA. Okay? After you finish, clean it up. Because if you don't, you're going to have a misread because of all the old MOA that's left on this bearing surface. Okay? We want to make sure that you don't get egg on your face when you're doing a demonstration. Believe me, I've had egg on my face so many times from using equipment that I don't know what it's like. So clean it. Do not use 402. Brake and parts cleaner, use 411 to clean it with. Okay?